Jake yawned and stretched his arms. The sun peeked through the window blinds of his small apartment on the space colony, New Terra. It was another quiet morning. He had lived on this planet for 6 months now. Life here was peaceful mostly. He got out of bed and rubbed his eyes. His body still felt sore from yesterday's training at the space station. He looked at the time, 8:15 a.m., he said to himself. Zyra is probably still sleeping. Zira was his new roommate, and she wasn't human. She came from a planet called Viralia. Her skin was smooth and light blue, her hair long and silver, and her eyes glowed faintly in the dark. She spoke fluent English but sometimes forgot simple things about Earth. She didn't eat meat, didn't like loud music, and always wore a strange crystal around her neck. Jake had gotten used to her strange habits. She was quiet, clean, and never caused problems. But today, things were about to change. Still half asleep, Jake walked into the bathroom. He turned on the shower and stepped in. The warm water felt amazing. He stood there for a few minutes, thinking about breakfast. After he finished, he dried off with a towel. Without much thought, he walked out of the bathroom completely naked. He thought he was alone, but he wasn't. Standing in the kitchen, holding a small bowl of glowing green cereal, was Zira. She froze. Jake froze. Both stared at each other for a full 5 seconds. Then Zira's face turned a deep purple. Her eyes widened. The bowl slipped from her hand and shattered on the floor. Jake's mouth opened, but no words came out. I thought you were asleep," he finally said quickly, grabbing a towel and wrapping it around himself. Zyra didn't answer. She just turned and ran to her room, the door sliding shut behind her with a soft hiss. Jake stood in the hallway, heart pounding. He couldn't believe what just happened. 10 minutes later, Jake stood in front of Zira's door, fully dressed. Now he knocked softly. "Zira, I'm really sorry. I didn't know you were up." No answer. He sighed. "Look, I didn't mean to surprise you like that. I forgot you're always up early on your homeworld time." Still nothing, but then he heard something whisper. Strange. Fast words in a language he didn't understand. It was Zira. She was speaking in her native tongue, and her voice sounded panicked. Jake leaned closer to the door. The words came faster, more nervous. It wasn't just embarrassment. She sounded afraid. That's when a chill ran down Jake's back. Why is she scared? He thought. What did she see besides me? Later that day, Jake sat on the couch, watching the door to Zira's room. She hadn't come out. She didn't even ask for her usual cup of herbal tea. Something wasn't right. He remembered her face. That wasn't just shock. That was fear. Jake looked at the floor where the glowing cereal had fallen. The strange blue dust was still glowing faintly in the carpet. His eyes moved to the table, where Zira's crystal necklace lay forgotten. She never took it off. Ever. That scared him even more. That night, around 2 a.m., Jake heard soft footsteps. He opened his eyes and saw Zyra standing in the dark hallway. She didn't look the same. Her skin was glowing slightly, and her eyes looked almost too bright. Jake sat up slowly. "Zira, are you okay?" She didn't answer right away. Then, in a soft, shaky voice, she said, "You weren't supposed to see me like this." "But now it started." Jake blinked. "What started?" She took a step back. "I have to stay away from you now." Jake stood up. "Wait, what do you mean? It was an accident." Zira turned around, her voice barely above a whisper. "Not anymore. My body, it saw you, and now it remembers." And then she disappeared into her room again. Jake stood in the hallway, frozen. His heart was beating fast again, but this time it wasn't from embarrassment. It was something else. Something strange was happening. Something alien. And it had already begun. Zyra was dreaming, but it didn't feel like a dream. She was standing in a dark, endless field under a purple sky. Strange stars blinked above her, and her body was glowing faintly like soft blue fire. Suddenly, a voice echoed in her mind. It was not her own. The bond has seen, the bond has chosen. She turned around in the dream, but no one was there. Still, she could feel something warm brushing her skin. Something human. Her eyes opened wide. Zyra sat up in her bed, breathing fast. Her body felt hot. Her hands were trembling. And worst of all, the crystal around her neck was glowing red. Red was a warning color on her planet. She touched it. No, 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 she whispered. The necklace only turned red for one reason. Her instincts had been awakened. The old bond. Code inside her had activated, and it had chosen. Jake. Meanwhile, Jake sat at the kitchen table, poking at a bowl of cold cereal. He hadn't seen Zyra all day. Her door was still shut, and he hadn't heard a sound from inside. He kept replaying last night in his head, her glowing eyes. Her voice low, shaken, that one strange sentence. My body. It saw you, and now it remembers. What the hell does that even mean? Jake muttered to himself. He got up and walked toward her door again. Zyra, please talk to me. I'm worried. Silence. Then finally, a voice. Are you feeling strange? She asked from the other side. Her voice was soft but serious. Jake blinked. No, just confused. Any warmth? Skin sensitivity? Fast heartbeat? Jake raised an eyebrow. What? No, why? More silence. Then she whispered, It's only me then. Inside her room, Zyra sat cross-legged on the floor. The lights were off, and her skin glowed softly in the dark. She was running a scan on herself using her personal alien device. Her heart rate was elevated. Skin temperature rising. Chemical markers spiking. All signs pointed to one thing, early-stage mating response. She gasped. On Veralia, this happened only when one's body and mind connected deeply with another. Usually it took months, sometimes years, but this happened in seconds, and it happened because she saw Jake. She didn't even touch him. That was the problem. If visual contact alone triggered this, then physical contact might be unstoppable. Jake returned to the kitchen. He sat down, rubbing his forehead. He tried to think. Zyra wasn't acting like someone who just saw something awkward. She was acting like something had changed inside her. Suddenly, a soft ding came from the front door. A small package dropped into the delivery chute. Jake picked it up. The label had weird alien writing on it. And below that, a translation. Private, emergency medical kit Veralia, female only. His heart skipped. What the hell is going on with her? Back inside her room, Zyra opened her wrist screen and called a secret medical AI from her planet. A calm voice spoke. Confirmed. You have entered stage 1 of the response. Your system has identified a mate. Zyra swallowed. Can it be reversed? Only if distance is maintained. Touching or emotional bonding will cause full imprint. And if I already feel something, then it may be too late. Zyra closed her eyes. Her hands were shaking. She felt strange inside. Not just because of biology, but because she didn't want Jake to stay away. Not anymore. That night, Jake was about to go to sleep when he heard soft footsteps again. He turned on the lamp. Zyra stood in his doorway. Her silver hair hung over one shoulder, and she looked unsure. I shouldn't be here, she said quietly. But I need to tell you something. Jake sat up. What is it? She stepped closer. On my planet, when we bond, it's for life, not just love. It's chemical, emotional, physical. We can't control it. We don't choose it. It chooses us. Jake stared at her. And it chose me? Zyra nodded. Her voice broke slightly. And if I touch you again, my body may seal the bond forever. Jake didn't know what to say. Then she whispered the part that scared her the most. And part of me wants that. Zyra didn't sleep that night. She sat on the edge of her bed, staring at her glowing crystal. It had stopped pulsing red. Now it was glowing soft pink, a Color that scared her more than any warning sign. Pink meant acceptance. Her body had already made the choice. Her mind was the only thing trying to fight it, and she didn't know how much longer she could dot in the morning. Jake found a note on the table. Just 6 words, written in Zira's handwriting. Meet me outside. No questions. He grabbed a jacket and stepped into the cool air. Zira was already waiting by the edge of the colony dome, where the Earth-like atmosphere faded into the stars. She didn't look at him. Jake stood beside her. You okay? Zira took a deep breath. I need to tell you everything, he said. Nothing, just listen. She continued. I was placed in this colony to study humans, to live among you, learn your ways. I was trained to avoid emotional bonding. Jake raised an eyebrow. So, this was all a mission to you? At first, she said, eyes still on the stars. Then, you happened. Zira finally turned to face him. The moment I saw you without clothes, my body reacted. But it wasn't just the image, it was the feeling. It triggered something deep inside me. Something that told me, you are mine. Jake was stunned. Wait, so you mean this is all some alien chemistry thing? Zira shook her head. Not just chemistry. On Veralia, when we bond, it's not like dating. It's not like falling in love. It's permanent, total. We don't break up. We don't walk away. Once bonded, our emotions are fused. Jake took a step back. So you're telling me that if we touch again, it becomes forever? Zira nodded slowly. Yes, and that's why I've stayed away. Because I don't want to force a bond on someone who doesn't want it. Jake looked at her with soft eyes. Zira, I never said I didn't care. Her expression changed slightly. But do you want forever? With someone not even from your world? They sat on a bench near the edge of the dome. Jake looked up at the stars and said, You know, humans don't bond forever. We try, but we fail a lot. We get scared. We run. We break things. Zira listened quietly. But I've never met someone like you. Someone who sees me, understands me. Even when we don't speak the same language. Zira turned to him. Then tell me the truth. If the bond happened, would you hate me for it? Jake was quiet. Then he asked, what does it feel like? Zira blinked. The bond? Yeah, to you. She looked down at her hands. It feels like ... my chest is too full. Like I can feel your emotions inside me. When you're sad, I feel heavy. When you laugh, my skin warms. When you're near, I can't focus. It's not control, it's connection. Jake leaned back. Sounds scary. Zira smiled softly. It is. Then she stood up. Her hands shook slightly. She looked at him one last time. I came here to study humans. But now I just want to protect one. Even if that means leaving. Jake stood too. Wait, you're leaving? Zira nodded. If I stay, I might bond without meaning to. And I won't trap you like that. Jake stepped closer. And what? If I don't want you to go? Zira's eyes filled with light. Then say it, clearly. Because if I touch you again, there is no undoing it. The wind whispered through the dome's edge. Jake looked at her glowing skin, the fear in her voice, the hope in her eyes. And for the first time, he wasn't scared. He reached forward. Slowly. But right before he touched her, he stopped. No, he said. Zira looked heartbroken. Then he smiled. Not yet. If this is forever, then let's not rush. Let's learn each other first. Not by accident, but by choice. Zira closed her eyes. A small tear fell. She whispered, You're more alien than I thought, in the best way. Zira couldn't hear her heartbeat anymore. Not because it stopped, because it had started to match his. Every time Jake came near, her body did something strange. Her breathing copied his. Her steps tried to follow his pace. Her mind, even in dreams, searched for his voice. That night, at exactly 12:03 a.m., she woke up. feeling something pull her. Not pain, not fear. Something warm, familiar. Strong. She stood barefoot on the cold floor, her body glowing with soft light, and whispered one word. Jake. Jake was tossing in bed. Sleep refused to come. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw Zyra's face. Not just how she looked, but how she looked at him, like he was more than just a man. Like he was something sacred. He rolled over, staring at the ceiling. Why did it bother him so much that she wanted to leave? Why did it scare him that one touch could change everything? And why, he asked himself, did he kind of want that change? Then he heard soft footsteps. The door to his room opened slowly. Zyra stepped in, quiet like a breeze. She didn't speak. She just stood there in the dim light, her silver hair glowing faintly, her eyes wide and unsure. Jake sat up. Zyra, what's wrong? I'm sorry, she whispered. I couldn't stay away tonight. Jake blinked. Did something happen? She shook her head slowly. Yes and no. I don't know how to explain. I just felt you. Jake slid over and made room beside him. Sit, you're shaking. Zyra walked closer and sat on the edge of the bed, careful not to touch him. Then she looked at him with eyes full of stars. There's something I didn't tell you, she said. Jake leaned forward. What is it? Zyra paused. We don't just bond through touch. Varelian females, we connect through dreams first. Jake frowned. Dreams? She nodded. If I dream of the same person 3 nights in a row and I feel safe, the bond begins inside, without touch, without choice. Jake felt a chill. And? He asked. This is the 3rd night. Zyra said softly. Silence. Jake didn't know what to say. Then Zyra added, I saw you, Jake. Not your body, not your skin. I saw your pain, your loneliness. The part of you that never felt enough. Jake looked away. Her words cut deep, but they were true. She continued, You made me feel safe, not just in the room, in my heart. And that scares me more than anything. Jake turned back to her. Zyra, you scare me too, but not in a bad way. You make me feel seen. They sat there, side by side. No words, no touch, just silence and shared breath. Then Jake asked softly, Do you want me to fight it? The bond? Zyra blinked. No, I want you to understand it. She reached into her pocket and pulled out a tiny, glowing stone. It shimmered with pink and silver light. This is a memory stone, she explained. If you hold it, you'll feel what I feel. Jake hesitated, then gently took a dot. As soon as he touched it, his chest tightened. Not from pain, but from overwhelming emotion. He saw her first day on Earth, nervous, lost, hiding behind a fake smile. He felt her fear when she first heard his laugh, and realized she liked it. He felt her panic the moment she saw him naked, not because of what she saw, but because her heart chose in that exact second. He saw himself through her eyes, strong, kind, gentle, confused, beautiful. Jake let go of the stone, tears in his eyes. Zyra whispered, Now you know. He looked at her, voice low. And if I touched you now? Zyra answered with a trembling voice, It would be the end of us. Or the beginning. Jake stared at her glowing hands. Then he smiled gently. Let's wait, just a little longer, he said. I want our beginning to be real. Zyra nodded, eyes wet. Then I'll wait with you. No matter how long. That night they didn't bond, but they stayed awake together, hearing each other breathe, feeling something grow in the space between them. Something powerful, something human, something alien, something real. The next morning, Zyra stood alone in the shower. But no water ran. She didn't need to wash. She needed to think. The warm steam curled around her glowing skin as her hands pressed gently against the cold wall. Her thoughts were louder than ever. He didn't touch me, but my heart already did. And now the bond inside her was no longer quiet. It throbbed, it pulsed. It whispered one name over and over. Kalan. Jake. Jake, on the other hand, sat alone in the garden dome watching earthbirds fly inside the safe artificial sky. His heart felt heavy. He didn't know if what he felt was love or just the fear of losing her. He didn't know if he wanted the bond or if he just didn't want to let her go. He picked up a leaf and crushed it between his fingers. Soft, delicate, like this thing between them. That afternoon, Zira asked Jake to meet her in the observatory tower. It was a tall, clear glass room at the top of the colony. From there, they could see the stars. The real ones. Jake arrived, unsure what to expect. Zira stood by the window, the sunlight hitting her hair like silver fire. Without turning around, she spoke. Jake, I sent a message to my people today. Jake froze. What kind of message? Her voice shook slightly. I asked them for a way out of the bond, a cure. Jake felt his stomach twist. And Zira turned to face him. Her eyes were red, not from color, but from holding back tears. There is no cure. Not without losing something I can't get back. Jake took a step forward. Like what? My emotions, she whispered. My memories of you, my ability to ever bond again. Jake looked stunned. You're saying, to stop this, you have to erase me? Zira nodded slowly. It would be like we never met. I wouldn't remember your name, your laugh, your kindness. He stared at her, heart pounding. And you'd really do that? She didn't answer at first. Then, softly, if you asked me to, yes. The room went quiet. Too quiet. Then Jake said, why are you giving me that power? Because my heart already gave it to you, Zira replied. Jake turned away, ran a hand through his hair, and breathed deeply. This bond thing, it's too big, too fast. I don't even know what I want. I know, Zira said. That's why I'm giving you the choice. She held out a small device. One button, one symbol. A glowing teardrop. If you press this, the memory wipe will begin. I'll leave Earth. You'll forget none of this. I'll forget everything. Jake stared at it. It was so small. But it felt heavier than a planet. He looked at Zira. She stood still, like stone, but her eyes, her alien eyes, begged him silently. Please, Don. Single quotes. Jake whispered. You said you saw my pain in your dreams, that I never felt enough. Zira nodded. And you made me feel like I was. Tears filled her eyes. You are. He looked back at the button. Then back at her. Then Jake put the device down on the table. No, he said. I'm not pressing it. Zira's lips trembled. Are you sure? Jake nodded. I don't know what's ahead. I don't know if I'm ready. But I know this. I don't want to forget you. He stepped forward and gently placed his hand over hers. Just fingers. Just skin. And for a second, everything around them disappeared. Zira gasped softly. A wave of warmth flooded her chest, but the full bond didn't trigger. Jake smiled. See? Not bonded yet, but not broken either. She laughed a soft, glowing laugh that sounded like wind through stars. Zira placed her other hand over his. I won't run, she whispered. Not from you. And I won't push you away, Jake said, even if this bond scares me. That night, they didn't need a decision. They just needed time. Because sometimes the strongest bonds are the ones made slowly, gently, by two people holding on when it would be easier to let go. Zira didn't expect him to bring a blanket, but there Jake was waiting on the rooftop garden, sitting cross-legged, holding a second blanket in his arms like a peace offering. She walked up quietly. He smiled and patted the spot beside him. You said you wanted to feel normal again, Jake said. This is what humans do. We sit, we talk, we freeze together under the stars. Zira raised an eyebrow. You freeze, I run hot. He laughed. Guess we really are opposites. She sat beside him. No touching. Just closeness. The kind that warms you anyway. For the next few nights, they met here. No bonding, no panic. Just slow, careful understanding. Jake told her about Earth, his home, his dog back in Colorado, how he lost his brother in a space accident 3 years ago. Zira listened, silent and still. Then she told him how she never met her real mother, how Varelians don't speak of feelings, how this mission was supposed to be her escape, not a place to find someone who made her heart glow. One night, Jake asked, "Do you regret meeting me?" Zira looked at the stars for a moment. "No," she said. "You were the first person who ever saw the real me, not the alien, not the soldier. Just me." Jake smiled. "Then we're both lucky." They began sharing small things. Zira cooked him food from her planet, a strange soft blue jelly that tasted like sweet snow. He taught her how to make Earth pancakes, and she ruined the first 5. They both laughed. She showed him how her skin changed color with her feelings. He showed her how to skip rocks on a digital pond. She told him Varelians could feel music with their bodies. He played her an old Earth song. They danced. And in that moment, they weren't alien and human. They were just two souls trying to heal. But not everything was soft. Some nights, Zira would go silent. Her hands would tremble. Her eyes would glow too bright. Jake would sit beside her, close but never touching, and ask, "Is it the bond?" She'd nod. "It pulls harder when I'm happy." Jake understood now. Her happiness triggered the very thing they feared. But she never tried to stop smiling around him, because loving him quietly, carefully was still worth the risk. Then came the night she cried. A small trigger, just a story. Jake told about his brother's last message. Zira broke down. Not loud, not dramatic. Just tears falling from her glowing eyes like falling stars. Jake didn't ask. He didn't speak. He just handed her his blanket. She held it close and whispered, "Thank you for treating me like a person, not a problem." Jake looked at her. "You were never a problem. Just a surprise I didn't expect. But I'm glad you came." By now, the bond inside Zira had changed. It no longer burned. It no longer begged. It waited. And that, for her kind, was rare, because it meant her soul wasn't acting on biology anymore. It was acting on choice. On the 7th night, they sat under the stars again. Jake looked over. "You know, this could have ended badly," Zira smiled. "It almost did. But now?" he asked. "Now," she whispered, "it feels like a beginning." Jake reached over, and this time when his hand brushed hers, Zira didn't pull away. She didn't glow. She didn't panic. She just smiled. No bond. No rush. Just understanding. Two beings. One bond, built not by instincts, but by time, truth, and trust. It started with a red flash in the sky. A Varelian command ship had entered orbit above the colony, without warning. Zira stood frozen on the balcony, watching the light pulse from the sky like a warning heart. Jake stepped beside her. "Is it your people?" Zira didn't answer at first. Then softly, "They're not here to talk. They're here to take me back." An urgent message came through her band, spoken in her native language. Jake couldn't understand the words, but he understood her face. It was the same face she made that first night, when she ran from the kitchen in shock. Fear. But this time, it wasn't about the bond. This time, it was about losing everything. Zira turned to Jake, her voice low. "They found out I didn't complete the mission. They know I stayed too long. Felt too much." Jake narrowed his eyes. "What happens if you don't go back?" "I lose my citizenship," she said. "My status. My right to return. I become a traitor." Jake's fists clenched. "And if you do go back?" She looked down. "They'll erase my memory of this place. Of you, of everything." Silence. Then Jake said something simple, but it broke her. "Don't go." Zira stepped away, her heart heavy. "Jake, you don't understand. My people don't forgive emotion. They fear it. If I stay, I'll never be safe again. Jake looked straight at her. But you'll be free. That evening, Zira received a final message. 1 hour to surrender. No delay, final warning. She packed her bag in silence. Jake stood at the doorway. You're really going? She nodded. I won't stop you, he said. But I want to give you something before you go. He handed her a folded piece of paper. Zira opened it. It was a drawing, childlike, simple, stick figures. One blue, one human, both smiling under stars. And under it, in Jake's handwriting, I choose you. Her hands trembled. Tears touched her cheeks, and she whispered, why does this hurt more than anything I've faced in battle? Jake stepped forward. Because for the first time, you're fighting for yourself, not orders, not duty. Just you. Outside, the red flash in the sky turned brighter. The ship was preparing to land. Zira looked at the stars. And then at Jake. Then she dropped her bag. I'm not going, she said. Jake blinked. What? She walked to him, closer than ever before. If I lose my name, my home, my future, then I want to lose it for something real. And you are real. The ship sent another signal, one final call. Zira didn't answer. She reached into her pocket and crushed her cum device in her hand. A quiet snap. A symbol of freedom. Then she took Jake's hand for the first time. Without fear. Her body began to glow. Soft pink, gold, every color of her emotions. Jake felt a warm pulse in his chest. Not pain, not pressure, just peace. The bond had happened. Not by accident. Not by force. By choice. The ship above them left silently. It didn't fire. It didn't wait. Veralia had lost her. Earth had found her. And Jake had chosen her. They stood together on the balcony as the stars blinked above. Jake looked at her and smiled. So, what now? Zira leaned her head on his shoulder. Now we build something new.